Friday Sparkling Insanity. This here is Chris, who's usually behind the camera, our host with the most, whose brain is quite possibly toast.
Welcome to Fireside Cigars, your one-stop spot for tobacco knowledge.
Other kinds of knowledge, too.
That's not fit for camera.
How's it going? Today we have our special St. Patrick's Day, even though it is the day after St. Patrick's Day video. This here is Chris, our host with the most, usually behind the camera, whose brain is quite possibly toast.
Definitely. And here, the captain of Crunk. Inside joke, Connor. Welcome, you guys.
We are Fireside Cigars, as our intro may have told you.
Absolutely. I'm going to start with Josh.
Josh could not be here today. He's celebrating his 23rd birthday with his family.
He's a baby still.
We have a lovely stand-in, Murphy McInnes here. Boondock Saints, lovely movie. And we have something special for you this St. Patrick's Day. We have the Battleground General Cleburne cigar. Now, Battleground comes from a shop out in Hazardville, Connecticut. And they have their own line of cigars, and they really do make great stuff.
Our second home.
Truly. I spend a lot of time in that lounge.
Yep.
But all their cigars are either named after a Civil War general or figure. And this one in particular, General Cleburne, he was an Irish general in charge of an Irish regiment. And I may be wrong on that. I don't know proper military structures. Actually, on the Confederate side, you might be more familiar with his Union, I would say, opponent, who was famous for leading the Fighting 69th. Now,
good number.
Oh yeah.
Wait, giggity.
Giggity. Now, this is an Irish whiskey flavored cigar. They start with their what would normally be their Lincoln cigar, which is infused with bourbon, this with Irish whiskey.
If you can only smell through the phone how good this smells, and it's not even lit yet.
Great, like, room note, already not lit. You open up the tube and poof, it hits you. Now, this is a more mild cigar. The Maduro wrapper can be a little deceiving, I would say. Or intimidating if you haven't quite gotten into the really full-bodied cigars yet. This is a lighter filler, despite its Maduro wrapper, and it's not an incredibly harsh, oily Maduro. The Irish whiskey takes a little bit of the sting out of it as well.
Agreed. Definitely.
Now, Chris has this already punched. Punching is a method which you take a circular blade, like this, it's actually a blade, and you, as the name implies, punch, you kind of just twist into the cigar, and it comes out with a little wad of tobacco that's extracted through that bore there.
Normally, a lot of people like to punch in the back here. I'm obviously different and eccentric, so if you could call it a top, even though it's round, I punch the top. When you do a punch, depending on your depth, you change your draw. Also, this creates a natural filter. As you start to smoke it and the cigar heats up and some of the tar, oils, and stuff will pull back, it will stay at the bottom, creating a natural filter, and I don't get some of that burnt taste or some of that aftertaste when you do it in the back or you cut it. A little bit of preference, but you know, people always ask why I choose to punch like this, and that's my crazy theory.
Well, and punching is very similar to the V-cut method, which we'll explain in another video. But even when you punch on the toe of the cigar, which is what that's called, you still get a little bit of that tar and burnt flavor trapped inside of it. But that's a method that, and I've actually found what Chris says to be true. I still prefer to punch on the top of the toe. Or, you said top. I said top. We both know what we mean. Now, we're going to smoke this, and we're going to come back, and we're going to share with you our opinions after drinking some lovely Irish red ale.
We'll see you guys in a bit. Want to figure out how I like it, thing. Hey, there you go.
Side, there we go. You got it, buddy.
Oh, hey! You found this here after our great cigar.
Mm-hmm.
Normally we'd show you the cigar, but I don't even know where the ashtray is. They are gone. They were that good. Start off with notes. How do you feel it tasted? Would you pick up on it?
Well, this falls under the category of what our friend Josh, who is now behind the camera actually, earlier we'd like to thank James for filling in Chris's usual role.
You did a pretty damn good job. Thank you, Josh, for jumping behind the camera again.
Well, and what we mean when we say utility cigar is that patent pending. You have to give Minority the royalties.
Your go-to backup.
Well, it's a cigar that is flavorful. You enjoy it, but it's not something that's super complex that you're going to sit there and think, what kind of flavor am I getting off of it in this third of the cigar or that third of the cigar? It's something that's fairly consistent that you can just kind of absent-mindedly enjoy. Maybe you're mowing your lawn or doing some other daily tasks, and you might want to enjoy a smoke.
That's a perfect example.
So it doesn't mean bad. It's just not terribly complex.
What notes, flavors did you pick up on? I know we shared some of the same nuttiness, slightly oaky.
Yeah, I got almost a hazelnut flavor off of the first third of the cigar.
That's where all my flavor was. In the first quarter, third, however you want to break it down, in the first 20 minutes, it was the strongest, and then it kind of leveled out and was very...
It fluctuated a little bit for me. It was like the EKG of a dying patient. Just kind of...
Flatlined at the end.
Well, flatlined at the end with maybe a little bit of tremors somewhere in there. I got the notes of the sweet Irish whiskey, of course. Towards the end of the cigar, we're talking about second, third, and a little bit of the last third of the cigar. More took on an Irish coffee sort of flavor where the whiskey was still there, but far less pronounced. And I got a raisiny flavor off of it.
In the first 15 minutes, I would agree with that. How do you feel it paired? I'm drinking this now, but we were drinking this while we had the cigar. How do you feel they paired together?
Fairly well. I mean, Smithwick's is a great beer. I don't even know if I pronounced it correctly. Smithwick's.
Shit.
My Irish ancestors frowned upon me. Like all two of them.
Is that screaming in the background?
Well, it pairs well. I mean, this is a cigar that's going to go well with most beers that are on the medium to darker side.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you're not going too dark, where it's going to wash out the flavors. Now, what you absolutely don't want to do with an infused cigar that's infused with a certain kind of liquor is you don't want to drink that same kind of liquor.
They'll wash each other out.
You're am I getting this Irish whiskey taste from the whiskey I'm actually drinking,
right,
or from the cigar? You can't really draw a distinction there.
Mm-hmm.
So, all in all, there's not a whole lot of notes to go over more than that on the flavor.
How would you rate it?
Based on the volume of smoke, the length of the smoke, and the general good thing it's got going throughout, I'd put it about 7 Guinnesses out of 10.
I'd go with like 7.4 boobs out of boobs.
See, you're the only man I know who would take half a chest.
Yeah, a boob's a boob. What are you gonna do? Time for smoke. It was like an hour and a half, ballpark?
Easily an hour and a half. I mean, we tend to chief him down a little bit more.
It was good. I mean, we were playing acoustic music. Didn't drink a huge amount, but I mean, when you're laughing and horsing around, you tend to smoke a little bit faster and stuff. So we knocked it back pretty quick, but it's definitely not a long smoke. And you got to take that into consideration. If you're sitting by a fire all night, you can take your time with the cigar, and obviously you'll enjoy it a little bit more. But if you're in a car ride or like what we did, just bullshitting.
Mm-hmm.
This was definitely a shorter smoke, so hour and a half, ballpark, give or take 15 minutes or so.
Yeah.
What else? You want to talk about how we came up with Fireside?
Well, we were playing around with a lot of different names that try to represent who we are as people, and Chris here and Josh there behind the camera, they're not blood, but they're family.
Close enough.
That all came through us getting to know each other and who we are as people, sitting by the fire around summertime, smoking cigars, talking about what's important to us.
Good
and
music.
Yeah, and now we're trying to share what's important with us with you, so be part of our family.
Also, to add to that, you know, being a family man and these guys being family, it's nice to put down the cell phone and the technology, the laptops, and to have a real conversation, something that's missing from today's society. So, again, that's part of Fireside, is to sit around a fire, have a real conversation, to laugh, to smile, to cry, whatever it is. That's what bonded us, and that's why we came up with Fireside Cigars, because some of the best conversations and times in my life, have come from sitting around the fire with the family, friends, family, however you want to word it. So it was inevitable that that name somehow came into our situation, and we thank you for tuning into our situation.
Stay classy.